In the first honest Federal Reserve paper in some time, the Fed issued a new report that found the runaway inflation of the past few years was not, in fact, caused by greedy grocery stores. That, as we all knew, it was the $6 trillion pumped out by a power-mad Congress and their in-house money printers at the Fed. Alas, famous influencer Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez is not buying it. The congresswoman, who is the only representative from the Bronx with an economics degree from Boston University, was in the memes this week for posting an Instagram story by New Zealand eco-communists declaring that inflation is actually right-wing propaganda, a psyop to trick the normies into checking the prices on their grocery receipts. That the true cause of inflation is corporate profits, grocers and barbers hiking prices because they suddenly got greedy, but they weren't greedy before. Asked about the Congresswoman's Marxist theories, the New York Post quoted several of her blue-collar Bronx constituents. One said, "Are you crazy?" Which is what New Yorkers say when they disagree. Another seemed upset about killing herself working 2 jobs to feed her family. One suggested that getting free $30,000 ballroom dresses insulates one from the price of milk. At any rate, here's what the Fed said, that corporate profits were not, in fact, abnormally high during the Great Inflation, that they instead followed, quote, fiscal and monetary factors. In other words, federal spending and the trillions the Fed printed to finance it, which were then dumped out to compete with our own dollars. Now, profits did spike momentarily, the paper found, but inflation always does that since old inventory was bought cheap and now you can sell it at the new price. But by the end of last year, even that accounting quirk was gone and profit margins were right back where they were pre-pandemic. Prices, of course, were much higher, but companies were not doing any better. Greed, alas, was unchanged. By the way, margins are now falling even more as the recession hit. So American Airlines just warned of an 80% drop in profits, although to be fair, maybe they just got 80% less greedy. Of course, economists have known this all for centuries, that inflation is caused by more money in circulation. This should be obvious. If you go to Japan, a coffee is 400 yen, but it only costs $5 back home. This could be because Japanese cafes are 80 times greedier than American cafes, but it's more likely because there's a lot of yen in the world, thanks to Japan's hyperinflation in the 1890s and 1940s that took $1 to 140 yen today. I've mentioned in recent videos how the Fed, really all central banks, scapegoat inflation on greedy inflation or greedy businesses and greedy workers to set the right against the left and keep the people fighting whilst they print. Of course, this is willful deception considering the Fed employs hundreds of Ph.D. economists who surely know the century-old quantity theory of money that forms the basis of modern understanding of inflation, and who apparently even use it in their own research. Alas, Marxist politicians are not buying it because they are precisely the ones who most want the people to fight for their own reasons. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.